Hello, buddy. Welcome to the United Stands. It's not here we go for Sesko. It's bigger than that. I mean, if you've not been on social media and this is your first hearing of this news, you're in for a very pleasant surprise. Manchester United in transfer talks with Brighton for Baleba. I am now a Baleba. Look. First things first, David Ornstein has said this. Manchester United have made contact with Brighton via intermediaries over a possible deal for Carlos Baleba. Manchester United have made contact with Brighton. Brighton don't plan on selling this summer and a deal is recognised as unrealistic. But Man United are keen and should know in the coming days if plausible or not via David Ornstein. So Man United have made contact with Brighton via intermediaries about Baleba. Brighton do not plan to sell and all sides are aware it's an unrealistic move, but your Man United are keen and should know in the coming days if plausible or not. Now, look, this fills the heart with absolute, excitement. I would say, can the 58 announce a protest every day? Because every time there's a 58 protest, we get a new stadium or a crazy transfer bid. So there's clearly something in these protests, and the 58 should take some credit for this because, protest announced, we go for Baleba. Protest announced, we get a new stadium. So let's give a big shout out to them, of course. But realistically, yeah, look, this is, I'm still fascinated by the fact that Indy Callia announced this first and David Ornstein is acknowledging it. I mean, this is a troll account from 10 years ago. This was, some of the memes about Indy Callia were just hilarious 10 years ago. And here he is getting a glow up from David Ornstein. What's happening? Pinch me, what's happening? But look, in relation to Baleba, I remember watching Brighton play Man City in the autumn of last year. And Baleba wasn't on the pitch. And he came on at half-time and they won the game at the second half. And I remember saying at the time on That's Football, I think this kid's amazing. I think he's got everything you want. He can, he's skillful, he's tenacious, he can pass. He's the player Paul Pogba could have been. Like, he absolutely is, very, very exciting. But, we have held talks. Now, I saw somebody just before I went live, and I probably shouldn't say their name because they'll get in trouble, but they basically said spin. And I read the comments, and what they were saying was, I mean, is this not a good idea? You don't buy a midfielder, but you say you want a midfielder that you can't get. Everyone gets really excited. Ineos are cooking. You don't get the deal. It's impossible. And actually, you've just spun the whole fan base. So let's wait and see on that, because anybody can contact Real Madrid for Vinicius Jr. Doesn't mean you're going to get him. Doesn't mean you can afford him. So I would say, look, I don't think it's spin. I think we genuinely have made an approach. And honestly, you know how relaxed I was about Sesko, and many people were like, oh, I'm amazed how relaxed you are considering you don't like the Glazers and you don't trust Ineos. I think football's changed. I think football has changed this summer transfer window. Liverpool are going to spend $500 million as Premier League champions. Chelsea have spent ridiculous money. Arsenal have spent a lot of money. Man City are spending money. They are moving further and further and further away. And I think Ineos are having to adapt to the world that we live in now. And I would applaud that, because whatever happens with them, however, badly we think they run the club or whatever, and they did rescue the Glazers, of course, the reality is it's an open goal to start spending money, because if you don't, you're going to die. If we don't spend money, we're going to die. Clubs that are stronger than us are spending more than us. So I think the plan was to coast over the next 3 years and hope to catch up slowly. And I think we've seen those clubs that are ahead of us have just got a full tank of petrol and put their foot down. And we either get a full tank of petrol and put our foot down, or we're going to get left behind. So the way I look at it is we are doing that. Like, if we can get Baleba and we can get Sesko, and we will get Sesko, and we have Cunha and we have Mbermo and we get a goalkeeper, then we have delivered a summer transfer window that ordinarily would be an 8, maybe even a 9, if we'd done it early. And that's the only thing you'd have a reservation about. Why didn't we get these deals done a little bit early? But ultimately, These are the deals we should be doing. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, God, thank you, Sir Jim, for doing deals we should be doing. Liverpool are doing it. Chelsea are doing it. We should be doing these deals. Like, we're Manchester United. We should be doing these deals. I'm not grateful because we're in transfer talks with Baleba. I'm actually saying, well, yeah, this is what you bloody should be doing, and I will applaud it, and I will say it's the right thing to do, but we bloody should be doing this. We're miles behind. How do you think you're going to catch up? The question is, should we sell bloody Bruno and get in contact with Saudi and say we'll take the 100 million? Because I am sat here about to say this, and I bloody mean it. If we can't afford Baleba, you should be on the phone to Saudi, taking the 100 million, getting Baleba in, and I think Baleba, Casemiro, Ugarte and Mainu is a better balanced midfield than Bruno, Casemiro, Ugarte and Mainu. Now, that's going to upset people, but that is a proper midfield, in my opinion. So, look, I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're going to do that at all. I think we're going to play Bruno with Baleba if we can get him in. Look, a lot of people are saying whether we should do... Look, I don't care if I offend you. I really don't care if I offend you. I don't care if you celebrate what I've just said. It's my opinion. I don't rate Bruno in the midfield. And if the barrier to Baleba is money, well, there's a guy in our midfield that you can get £80 million for tonight. I'd do it. Tough decisions, tough love, whatever you want to call it. If you're telling me the barrier to Baleba is we haven't got 100 million, then I'm saying, well, I know where I can get it, and I'm going to do the deal. If you don't agree with me, that's absolutely fine. Haven't got a problem with it at all. It's all about opinion. F in the chat for all the Newcastle crybabies, says Ash. Well, apparently, what hasn't been reported is that Newcastle also approached Baleba. I'm joking. They don't need that shit. They don't need that shit. Dan says, we've been starved of this for a long time. It's how a big club should be run. As Roy Keane would say, he's doing his job. Yeah, but let's not forget, as per that person on X who said this is spin, anybody can approach a player they know they're not going to get. I think they've got to follow through now, because I know for a fact you lot have been talking about Baleba for about 9 months. I know for a fact I've been talking about Baleba for about the same period of time, because I remember that Man City game. I think if you know, you know. He's a very exciting player in the, not in the mould of, but similarly to what Casido was, not similar players. The problem is, and somebody just said it in the chat, do you think we can do it? As per Swedish Rumble, we can do it. We can spend £250 million this summer. We can do this deal. We can definitely do this deal. We can do this deal in installments. We can definitely doing it. We definitely can. So we can do this deal, definitely. But the question will be, and also you weaken a rival again. You know, not many people would talk about that. Brighton are a rival for 5th. And if you don't think that, who the hell do you think we are? Brighton were way ahead of us last season. So if you take Baleba from Brighton, you weaken Brighton. If you take Mbeumo from Brentford, you weaken Brentford. If you take Sesko away from Newcastle, you weaken Newcastle. Obviously, we're not going to weaken Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool and Arsenal. But I know and you know 5th place is probably the Champions League. And if we don't get it this year, we lose more ground on everyone else who'll be spending another £500 million. So what about the AFCON? Well, I think we might have to close down for the AFCON, to be honest with you. That half our team will be gone. But look, we have got quite a big squad. Do I think we can do it? You know what? Yeah, I think we are going to do it. I haven't been told anything. I just think we are going to do it. And I don't know what's coming over at me, because I'm not here to champion the Glazers and Ineos in any way, shape or form. And as somebody just said, I'm not going to applaud them for doing their job. Well, in fact, I am. Because not doing your job, we have a go at them. So I will applaud them for doing their job. But I also think that we will get this deal done now. I mean, somebody just said Toby Collier could go the other way. Ugarte could go the other way. Mainu could go the other way. I mean, we have got players that could go there as part of this deal. And Brighton are a selling club. I think it was their CEO said last week, he did an interview talking about Baleba specifically, saying that, look, the way we run our club, everyone's got a price. We don't want to sell our players, but everybody knows that's how we run our football club. There is a price for our players. So he is for sale if a price is met, and we've got to look at a structure. Now, if we go there and say we'll give you £80 million over 5 years, that deal can be done. I reckon this deal gets done. live on air, I reckon this deal gets done. I really do. I think you can construct a deal like Chelsea do. I think this deal is going to get done. I do. I don't think Brighton want to do it. I think Baleba will want to do it. Man United clearly want to do it. We can structure a deal over a number of years. It can go to 80 million, which I think will get the deal done. I think we'll do it. A lot of money. But you know what? I know what you think, and you know what I think. That midfield is not right. It's not right. I don't think it's right with Bruno in it anyway, even with Baleba, but I think it would suit us better. I mean, the question mark I would have about Baleba, actually, does anybody know what he is? I don't watch Brighton loads. I just think he's almost everything. Is he a number 6? I think he's more of a number 8, isn't he? I mean, he's got tremendous ability in close spaces. He's sort of a little bit like Mainu, actually, with his close ball control. Really, really quick, really, really tenacious. I wouldn't describe him as a Rodri. I'd describe him as a fusion. Like I said, Paul Pogba. I mean, Paul Pogba, I'm going to get critics again now. I liked Paul Pogba. I think he was potentially the modern-day Zidane in the sense that he could have gone down as a midfield great because he had the ability to take people on, he was physical, he could pass, he could tackle, and we know inconsistency sort of plagued his prime. But Baleba is not Paul Pogba, but he has got that undefinable position, really, because if you put him as a holding midfielder, I think you're going to lose a lot. Personally, I'd love to see... Yeah, I don't know what I'd like to see, but he would definitely improve our midfield, definitely, 100%. I truly do not think a Baleba in Mainu midfield after Bruno is so solid. With the 3 forwards we signed this year, very good progress, but like Ornstein said, we need sales ASAP, says Luke. We're winning the treble this season, says Parker. Keith owned you twice, Mark, says Kanish. I don't even know what we're talking about with Keith anymore. We bought Sesko. He didn't get him. He's using me to grow. That's absolutely fine. I'm always here to nurture talent. One question, Mark. Can we make this deal happen, Mark O'Connor? Yeah, well, I've just said there. I think we can. Yeah. More signings will make these players unwanted and leave. I love this, says JB. Seems like Ornstein is trying not to get us too excited, says Fred the Bob guy. Look. Another way of looking at this is, if you do get Baleba, it could force Casemiro out the door because he'll realise he's not going to get any game time. Emily Derry says, after a day at work, I was just catching up with the Sesko news, then bam, Baleba connections, what the hell? I still think it's highly unlikely though, says Emily. Yes, that's fine. 1 minute. Sorry, I just had something back. After a day at work, I was just catching up with the Sesko news, then bam, there is an 8 o'clock show. This is just going to be a very, very quick one. Emily still think it's unlikely. Selling Bruno would have made so much sense now, says Mario. What's happening, says Maxud. Shampers, Baleba get in, United, says Davrej. I can't speak, says Spin. You act quick, Mark, says Marty. Well, we've got an 8 o'clock show as well. Can't the same logic as Sesko being put out public be applied here to Baleba? It's all wrapped up then. Can't believe it. What's going on? I'm dreaming, says Mario. Surely this would mean Mainu leaving. No, not necessarily, Matt. I think it's Agartha. Wow. I mean, look, we'll talk about that at 8 o'clock about what it means for everybody else. I'm here just to react to this news. Blake says, ruthless aggression, Rasmus, Garnacho, Anthony out. We can achieve Baleba and Donnarumma if we move quick and efficient. Amrim said he does not want a big squad. Get them out, says Blake. How do you think this affects the chances of us signing a keeper, says Emily? I think this would push us towards a Lemens type deep keeper. I can see Onana staying, to be honest with you, at the moment. Box-to-box midfielder, says Joe Wright. Got to say, if we do this deal, the strategy to buy mid-table clubs, no offence, best players and their targets is genius. Let's get this one done, says KMD. We should keep up Onana as if we keep increasing players for AFCON. We will need his speedy jet to get the rest of our players back, says Alan Gaywood. Isn't Baleba on low wages? It's a plot to get Baleba to ask to leave, lowering the transfer fee, says Alan. Like the Sesko deal, why would we brief Ornstein and Romano if we're not going to do it? Would make us look stupid, in my opinion. No, not necessarily, Ben, because it does say that we need sales. It does say that it's a very hard deal to do, and it does say we'll find out in the next few days. So, you know, it shows ambition. It shows what you're trying to do a deal. I think we will get it done. Then I saw his face. Now I'm a believer, says Luke Johnson. If the deal does get done, I feel like it's a sign well for another midfielder. Says somebody there. Okay, let me just double check this here. But look, if you're tuning in a little bit late, please do subscribe. Brighton has agreed to open discussions and let Baleba go if the price is substantial. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I think Brighton will always sell if the price is good. They never say nobody's for sale. They will 100% sell if the price is good. Manchester United are obviously in talks. My belief is, and I could easily say, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it will happen. 20 million over 4 years, £80 million. Alan Noonan says he's dreaming. I think it can happen. But look, what I will say is, if we get Baleba and we've got Cunha and we get Mbeumo, which we've got, and we get Sesko and we get a goalkeeper, we're not winning the league. Like Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City are still shitting all over us squad-wise. These deals, as exciting as they are, have to happen. You know, there has to be a balance here. We shouldn't be running around with our tops off going, thank you, Joel, thank you, Jim. This is exactly what should be happening and needs to happen every transfer window, probably for the next 5, like it has with Chelsea. Chelsea started doing this as soon as Todd Boehly came in. This, and I'm not criticising the club here. I'm not criticising Barada or anybody. What I'm saying is, applaud this. But as Roy Keane would say, applaud them for doing their job. Well, I will applaud them for doing their job, but this needs to happen. We shouldn't be like sitting here going, oh, I'm so grateful. Oh, it's amazing. We've all been talking about Baleba for months. We've all been talking about, Gyökeres for months. These are the players that we need to bring in. Now, we didn't get Gyökeres, so we get Sesko. We're going for Baleba. We've got Cunha. We've got Mbeumo. This needs to happen every summer transfer window for the next 3. We need to bring in players of this quality because beyond these players, there's still a shitload of problems in that team. I like Dorgu. I think we've made some other good signings, but we need to keep doing this. So, yes, it's really, really exciting, but also we shouldn't be shocked because this is what we need to do. I've watched Liverpool buy Frimpong, Kerkez, Ekitike, Wirtz, and they're going for Isak, and they won the league. They are bloody top signings. Arsenal have brought in Gyökeres, Zubimendi, top signings. Chelsea are bringing in amazing talent again, top signings. Football is changing. And there's a fucking load of money to be made. And that's what it's all about. It's all about Club World Cups and, US markets and worldwide markets and being in the Champions League. And we need to be in the Champions League. And this is how you get in the Champions League. You don't get in the Champions League by going, Gary, Manchester United. UEFA don't go, it's Manchester United, let them in. We've got to qualify. We've got to qualify. And to qualify, you've got to be good. And to be good, you have good players. And we all saw it at the weekend again. That midfield is like the mint with a hole. It's wide open. This is absolutely the sort of signing you've got to go and make. So as much as I'm excited about it and as much as I'm slightly surprised by it, I think we're going to do it. Because I think you've got to do it. Because I'm pitching United between 10th and 6th. These types of signings and a goalkeeper, and I'm starting to go 5th. 5th. That's not great, but it's Champions League football. And maybe, if one of those top 4 teams has a shit season, maybe you slip in there. Pardon the pun. So, look, great. I'm back with you at 8 o'clock. I'm back in an hour. Make sure you subscribe. Terry's talking about it as well. I know I was a bit short there. So if you want to carry on the conversation with Terry, who'll probably be dead negative and say it's never going to happen and, Glazers out and all that. You know what Terry's not like. He never sees the bright side. I'm joking. I'm pissing with you. I'm back at 8. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you in a bit.